Dylan Cozens, you brought him up. Did he surprise you with what he did this year in junior when he went back? And with what he did, in your opinion, does that automatically make him NHL ready next season?
I'll answer the second question first. I think Dylan's ready to. I think two things. Dylan's ready to play in the NHL and contribute in some way and form. You know, I tricked myself last year heading into the draft, and I'd watched Dylan for quite a long time, and one of the things that I don't know if it was a concern or whatnot. You start to watch some other players, and one of the things I've always reminded myself of: don't underrate a player, don't overrate a player. I underrated Dylan, and I hadn't done that up to that point in time, but towards the end, I did. Watching him this year, specifically at the World Junior Tournament, and I'll tell you when it hit me right across the face and hard, like a cold slap in the -15 wind. It was gold medal game, and Dale Hunter, because Barrett Hayton had the bad shoulder, he made a switch with his lineup, and he put Dylan Cozens with Lafreniere and Hayton, because Hayton couldn't do a lot of the heavy lifting required of a centerman. And he wasn't going to put Hayton on the wall because he couldn't take the bumps. So what he did is he moved Dylan Cozens into that spot because he knew Dylan could do all the heavy lifting. He knew Dylan could do the work, and even though he was playing the wing, he could play the center ice position and do those critical things in a demanding game. And the Russians were a big team, and they were a hard team. And we know what happened in the game. We know that Akil Thomas. But the move to put Dylan Cozens there was brilliant by Dale Hunter. It was brilliant. And not only was it brilliant because of the way it turned out, it was because Dale knew what Dylan could deliver. And I think that's exactly what Dylan can deliver at the National Hockey League level. So, you're the 7th overall pick. You're big. You can skate. He's got a tremendous, tremendous level of determination to make a difference in the game. But I think he's ready to contribute. And I think over the course of the season, certainly, but it was that gold medal game when it's just like, okay, you know what? He's going to be a long-time NHLer and a really, really good player.
Question then. So if Dylan Cozens is ready, physically, he's got the size, he's got the skating ability, the skill set, the determination, where do you play this player his first year in the National Hockey League? Do you see him being that third-line center, or do you see him being a third-line right winger?
This is where he leads you, Mr. Button. He leads you into the answer he wants.
Well, the answer is I would not put him as a third-line right winger. I don't think that's where he is. Now, if he's got to start in a third-line center hole, I would have no problem with that. But if you're going to play him on the wing, and now we go back to, is it Dylan Strome? Is it a centerman that can play behind Jack Eichel, right? Well, now you can have Dylan Cozens come in, play on the right wing, add that size. Sammy Reinhart's over there. Right now you have two right wingers. You're adding more skill. You add another skill player in the middle of the ice, right? And that allows Dylan to get his feet wet, right? But I think Dylan's like a center. I think he's going to be a center. I think he can start on the wing and swing over to the wing. But I don't want him being a third line right winger. And I think he's, I see too many players that fall into that area of playing that spot on the team, and then they lose the things that they're really good at, and that's offense, and that's handling the puck. I'm not saying you can't do that as a third-line winger, but you don't have as much ability. And as a 19-year-old, I don't want him to do that. But I would put him in the middle if he's got the right backup, or I'd put him at the second-line right wing hole.
Okay, well, you answered my question. I was going to ask you a question. It was hypothetically, okay, and this has nothing to do with Sam Reinhart. It has everything to do with Jack Eichel, actually. If Sam Reinhart weren't here, would you feel safe putting Cozens on Jack's wing? Or is that too much of a load to handle right out of the gate?
Well, it's not so much of a load, I don't think. I'll tell you why. Because Jack can carry play by himself, right? So, when you have that type of a player with Jack, he can make players around him better, and he can make players, comfortable doing what they do, because he takes the burden off of them, because he drives play in so many different ways. And I mean, he's a superstar. So depending if Sam isn't there for whatever reason, and you're looking to improve your team in another area, yeah, because Dylan can play off of a Jack Eichel, and Dylan can understand what he needs to do in different situations. And that's one of the real hallmarks of Dylan, and that's why I bring up that gold medal game and where Dale put him in there. He's going to play the wing, but he's going to take on a lot of those center responsibilities that Barrett couldn't do in that game. So, yeah, I think, it might be a little rich at the outset, but because Dylan gained that confidence, and Dylan went through this year being a highly productive player, because he did it at 16 and understood what it meant, and he got better, I think because Dylan's mature and understands and is smart, that he could handle it and be able to do it. But a lot of that is because of how good Jack Eichel is.
Sounds to me like you would trade anything around Dylan Cozens. So it sounds like if there were deals being made in the off season, he's an untouchable.
I don't know where you find 6'3" players that skate, have an unbelievable determination to make a difference in the game in some way, shape, or form. I call him the workhorse from Whitehorse, and that's what he is. He not only has skill, but he's got this infectious attitude of, I'm going to find a way to make a difference. I think if anything with Dylan, when he was a little bit younger, sometimes he tried to force things, not because he didn't understand, but because he wanted so much to make an impact in the game. And I think what he's learned over the course of this year, there's going to be times when that play is there, and there's going to be times when it isn't. But he doesn't force things. That's just maturity. But there's no way, unless you're going to trade me a player, a younger player that has a chance, that is in the elite category. Elite. I'm not trading Dylan Cozens.
You call him the workhorse from Whitehorse. You want to know what we call him?
No, I do want to know, but I don't know what you call him.
Yukon Gold, baby. He's Yukon Gold. What are you doing during the quarantine? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he's going to love that too. I mean, his dad, who's a judge up in the Yukon, right, and his mother, who's an attorney. I mean, they are so proud of their roots up there, and Dylan is so proud of it too. And he is Yukon Gold, I'll tell you.
We had him on our show last year after the draft. Do you know what his uncle does?
I don't.
I think it's his uncle, but one of his family members is on the show Canadian Pickers, I think.
Really?
Yeah, that's his uncle or his cousin or something really, because he told us that on the show. He was talking about, I don't know how it came up. We were talking about TV. He's like, one of his family members is Canadian Pickers. You know that show where they go around and they get all the antiques and stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So
it's funny with his dad. His dad is like, Peter Anholt, who's the general manager in Lethbridge. And I met the Cousins for the first time at the U17 when it was up in Fort St. John and Dawson Creek up in BC. Anyway, met them. But Peter says, he goes, the first time he met Mr. Cozens, he goes, he was down. He was sitting there watching a game. He had blue jeans on, some shoes, a crusty old jacket, and a trucker's hat. And he said, if somebody would have told me he was a lawyer or a trucker, he said, I would have gone 100% trucker. All my chips in, he said, would have been on trucker. So, not only is the kid bright, but the kid is so well-grounded and, just a great family.
You don't always have to look the part. You just got to play the part.
Yeah.